This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, saving your day from boredom with the best podcasting entertainment.
What's up, everybody? Ricky Widmer here, along with fellow man-child Johnny Karlic.
What's up, my Glib Globs?
And we are back for another movie review here on the Rick and Johnny podcast. If you're new to our movie reviews, here's how it works. Usually, a couple weekends, me and Johnny go and see movies that we like or that you guys have told us that you would like to see us review. We watch them, we review them. We start off in about 10 to 15 minutes of non-spoiler mode in case you have not seen it. Then we just spoil the shit out of the movie for the rest of the podcast and go into it. And today we're looking at Valerian, City of 1,000 Planets. And Johnny, I want to get right into this because this is a movie where I tried to go in with little to no base knowledge whatsoever. Because usually we see movies, Wonder Woman, Black Panther, the Marvels, the DCs, where
we have a plethora. One of the two of us has
we have
plethora.
Knowledge in the background, and plus, like, being Marvel and DC guys ourselves.
Basically, one of us is an encyclopedia on that topic.
Yeah, one of them's an encyclopedia, but the other one has knowledge of the characters. This one, I tried going in with nothing. I know Mark and I read Valerian and Loreline, City of Shifting Waters, for a graphic conversation, which you guys should go and check out. However, that's all I knew coming into this. All I knew otherwise was what I've heard from the previews of, you know what, it's visually amazing. It's going to be.
And the previews showed like it was going to be.
All I knew was that, and then it basically had the guy who played, the way I looked at it, the guy who played Harry Osborn in The Amazing Spider-Man, and the chick from Suicide Squad. The one that played Enchantress. And I was like, okay, I'm in. I'll go and see it. It looks like a good movie. And you know what? It visually, like, those movies, I'm like, you know what? Visually enticing, plus the director. I love The Fifth Element, and he was the director of The Fifth Element, so I'm assuming I might like this. However, I saw this movie, and really the main thing that it had, and this is what I think non-spoiler mode is going to entice almost entirely, is that the best thing about this movie was the visuals.
No,
that is it.
Special effects was the best part of the movie, and that's really what they hit on in the previews too. So I mean, that is the best part of the movie. They showed it all. The bad part, I would say, is they showed it.
They showed all the great visual, like everything that was great visually in the movie. Did they show that in the? Did they show it all in the preview?
Not all of it, but they kind of put. I don't want to say put all the eggs in one basket. No, that's the wrong terminology for it. But they kind of just put it all up front.
Well, I'll say they did put all their eggs in one basket. That is a proper way to kind of put this movie into a hole.
But not for what we're talking about at this very moment. Eventually, that's correct for the rest of the movie. When we get into spoilers, you'll find out why.
Yeah.
But my thing about it is they kind of put all like their main thing up in the front. It's like, we did really good special effects. And yeah, you guys did do really good special effects. Good job. I'm going to put that one up on the fridge for you.
We're going to put it right here. Right here. This is your good drawing of the day.
I wrote you a song about an octopus.
And we're going to put it right here for you, Ringo. But yeah, to me, this movie, if you have not seen the movie, here's how, without spoiling anything, this is how I saw it. It was a movie that visually I liked.
Yeah.
However, based off of seeing the trailers, there was nothing visually in the movie that made me go, wow. Because I've seen it all. I felt like everything that was visually present, you could get from the trailer.
Yeah.
Like, they basically put everything out, and it's like, oh, well, that's just how the movie's going to look. There was nothing where it was that kind of like, usually what they do is, I think of this in like the plot side of things where they do something with the plot like Spider-Man did, where it was like, holy shit, that just happened. Or like something, in this case, something visually that they didn't do that's like them pushing the envelope. And you just go, whoa, that is awesome. And one of the things that I liked that you said after we saw it, and I don't know if this would have made an entire difference when we get to the rating at the end, but you had mentioned, I wonder if we would have liked it a little bit more if we saw it in 3D and not standard definition.
Yeah. I honestly
or
think...
standard in 2D. I'm just going to say 2D.
Yeah, no, it's just standard. Yeah. You can just stick with standard. Whatever you want to call it, I don't care.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I think honestly, it would have been better in 3D.
Like, would the visual effects have been even more?
I think they would have been greater in 3D because of how much they focused on the visual effects.
No, and that alone was like the visual effects when you're like, oh, guys, can you tell us anything else you liked about the movie?
I think we're going to have to get into spoilers
I
soon.
can't. Well, I don't want to. The one thing I want to do before we get into spoilers is just my thoughts, like doing it in a non-spoiler sense, is we talked about the visuals. Of course, that's the main thing. But this movie, what it lacked was the storyline and the plot. You used the word bland.
Flat.
I'm going to use the word, it's a different word for flat now. It's stagnant.
Yeah.
It was very stagnant. And like I want to say 25% of the film, but I want to say it was a little bit longer. There was one plot point that happened where it's like before you get to halfway through the film, you're like, okay, I know who did it. I A, know who did it, and B, why aren't we getting there?
Yeah.
Why are you trying to fill me on time and just basically wasting my time because I'm smart enough, I figured it. Well, yeah. And I don't want it to sound like a thing where it's like, ha ha ha, I am smart enough. It's one of those things where I look at it and go, everybody in this theater has figured it out. Why are we waiting?
That's the problem. Is they gave, and we can do this. Luckily, I can do this before spoilers.
Yeah,
they gave that scene. They gave that away with one scene they put way too close to the beginning of it. And I don't know. I don't know if you agree with that. They took that one scene, should have been way closer to the end than it was to the beginning.
I totally agree. And like, I feel like this movie overall. I told Johnny with this. If you have not seen it yet, this is a wait till Netflix movie for me. Like, just wait till Netflix. Then it's like I'm already paying for Netflix. I don't have to go out and pay for the movie. It was not, to me, worth the ticket price that we paid to go and see this movie. Like I said, visual effects were great. How they made the aliens look, fantastic. However, plot was dry. And on top of that, I felt like and we'll get into this more in spoiler mode, the connection between Valerian and Laureline wasn't completely there for me.
Okay.
All the way through. But any last things you want to say before we get into spoiler mode?
Yeah, for the most part, I agree with him. The only way I would go and see it in theaters, if you could go see it 3D or IMAX 3D, because the visual effects were phenomenal. I would go with the word phenomenal when it comes to the visual effects.
Let me ask you this.
When it comes to the storyline, no, not really.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Would you pay to see it in 3D a second time, or because of the story, would you say, no, I'm not going to pay? Because 3D is a little bit, like, you got to pay more for 3D.
A little bit more for 3D.
Than regular 2D.
Well, now that I've seen it, no. But
That's what I was saying. Now that you know the storyline, are you going to say, yeah, I'm not going to sit through that again?
I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sit through it again.
I'm not going to do that to myself.
But no, I mean, this like we said, the storyline was bland or flat or stagnant.
Yeah.
But the visual effects were fantastic. And had I not if you were thinking about going to see the movie and you're still like, well, I kind of want to see it for myself, go and see it in 3D or just wait for Netflix or Redbox, because it'll be a waste of your money if you just go see it in standard.
Well, and now we are going to go over into spoiler mode. And before you guys, if you have not seen it, go ahead in a little bit. I will tell you to hit the pause button. Go hit it. Go. Actually, I would say, with my rating, don't even go see the movie. Just don't even hit pause. But now we'll jump into spoiler mode, Johnny. And the reason why I mentioned, like, don't even hit the pause button, because really, I would not I would not tell you to go and see this movie. Just listen to spoiler mode. You're not really missing much. And my biggest grief that now we can get into more in depth with this film was the plot. And the big thing I hated with it was from about, I wanted to say it was 25% into the film, as soon as you knew, okay, this guy on the ship knows about the race from the planet of Moy, I want to say, that was blown up in the beginning.
Yeah.
As soon as you knew, he knew about those race of aliens, and then the general had him whacked. Case closed.
Yeah.
Like, even before that, you're sitting there going, okay, the general did it. Okay, the general did it.
No,
like,
they gave that part of the plot away too early.
They didn't even try to mask it like, oh, it could have been some, like, at the very beginning, the thing I'm thinking in the beginning and after looking at the trailers, because that scene at the beginning where the big ship is falling, was in the trailers. The thing I was first thinking was, oh shit, there's like an outside force that is killing off planets.
I thought it was like attacking the station,
Yes,
like that specific group, like because
like there was a group of evil aliens that wanted to destroy planets and destroy the city of 1,000 planets. That's what I thought going in that this movie was going to be. And then Valerian and Laureline, who were spies, were going to go have to stop because really they're supposed to be force. Yeah, they're supposed to be the tactical force with the government to stop enemy people. Like the graphic novel that Mark and I read, they were going up against an evil scientist. Who was he was coming up with experiments and he had kill bots, kind of like the ones that we saw in Valyrian, the city of 1,000 planets. However, we didn't get that, and then it's like you're sitting there going, okay, it's the general. Can we speed this along, or are you just going to waste my time for about 2.5 hours, 2.5 to 3 hours? Like, are we getting to it, or are you going to waste my time, kind of a thing? And I felt like the plot was just like, what are we doing? What are we doing here?
No, I just think there's two things they could have done that wouldn't have done that. It wouldn't have been quite as bad with that. I mean, it wouldn't have helped them with their flat storyline. It wouldn't have helped them with any of that. But at least I wouldn't know who the villain was from the very beginning, and that was to take that part where the general is just completely suspicious, or even that part where he walks into them interrogating that one alien that was like the problem throughout the whole thing. The planet View, was it Mull? Whatever.
That's another thing. Why the hell would it bugs me because you even bring up that, and I think about it now because after the movie, me and you obviously talked about our thoughts, about our reactions. Now thinking about that, when you bring it up, the first thing I kind of think of is, why were they interrogating him? Because you killed off their race. Unless you were interrogating them because you wanted to find out where the survivors were so that you can whack the rest of the survivors. But really that whole, and you made the joke of how I'm just the master cutter when it comes to stuff with movies. Yeah. I'll be honest, this is probably the movie that we saw the most that I would have cut the most from. Like, things would have hit, things that were in the final film would have hit the cutting room floor because I just thought they were absolutely useless and time wasting. That might be one of them because, I get it. You might have put it in there because you were like, if you put it in the first time when he's like, give him another hour, and if he doesn't say anything, kill him. Okay, leave that. Why do we have to come back to him to, you've got to help me, and basically he dies just like the princess died at the very beginning. Yeah. We don't know where he attached his soul. We don't know any, it was like, okay, that was useless. And if they cut the whole thing and it wasn't even there, I don't think I really would have had a problem with it.
I think, if anything, cutting out the first one and not the second one would have been the better choice. Because that's the reason we knew who the villain was right from the beginning.
Exactly.
The second one was just like figuring out that...
Is that the scene you were talking about in non-spoiler mode where he comes into them interrogating, or was it the one where he whacked the guy?
The one where he the one where not the one where he whacked the guy. The one where he's interrogating.
Okay. Yeah.
I would have taken that out. That one I actually
the first one where he comes in and he goes, give him an hour.
Where the not the general, but the
doctor.
The commander Arun Fillet. There we go. Arun Fillet. His Clive Owen. Where Clive Owen's character comes in and says, give him another hour or kill him. That's the part I would have cut.
Because you knew that he was the bad guy.
That was at that point. It was completely obvious in your face. Here's a billboard saying, "I'm the bad guy."
And I wouldn't have had a problem with them doing that.
Yeah.
If they had if that happened and then they progressed the story, because the thing that I felt like when it came to that side of it, was if you're gonna give me that from almost the beginning, let's progress the story a little bit to where. I felt like there was too much time before the final climactic thing. Like, it was either two things were kind of running through my head now that it's a day after and I've had time to think about it. Either one, they sat there and they're like, no, we want to build this story. We want to have a little bit extra time for our main characters to interact with each other.
Yeah.
Or if they just felt like, no, I want to fit, like you mentioned. Well, sometimes the producer tells them one thing, and then it's, you know what, this is what it needs to be. If the director, producer, and everything in this one basically said, you know what, I want it to fit this time scheme because I want to get all this visual effects that I have, all this visual ideas in certain scenes that I want to get out there, because there were two scenes in my mind. Great visually.
Yeah.
However, if they cut them, I wouldn't have been upset. The first one, not as much. How you opened with the David Bowie. You opened with Space Odyssey at the beginning, and you get this nice visual where you get to see the races from these different planets. The space station grows, and I did like the effect of starting with the 1970s black bars on the side, and then as it got to modern modern 2020, then they just expanded it into full screen. Reminded me very much of Oz the Great and the Powerful, where the first 30 minutes of that film was black and white, black bars on the side. And then when he got into Oz, it turned into color, and those black bars kind of just faded away, and that's when it went to full screen.
Exactly, like the original Wizard of Oz.
That scene I didn't think was, at the end of it, I'm like, I wouldn't be mad if they cut it, but I probably wouldn't. The one that I would
keep that one
the
in.
one I would cut for sure, and what I thought was it was two things. Three things, actually. One, to me, it felt like it was a way to get some more special effects in there because of the character and what her character was able to do. Two, it was a way to say, hey, how do we get Rihanna in this film? And then three, it was basically, we've got Laureline captured by these guys, and the only way for them to let him in is that he looks like one of them. Shit, we got to create a plot device. How do we do this? Oh, a glam bot or a glam whatever. Basically, it was a plot device. That's all I saw it to me. The whole scene where he goes into Paradise Alley, finds Rihanna's character Bubble. They have the whole dance situation. Also, Ethan Hawke did a great job. That whole scene, Ethan Hawke did a great job acting. You had Rihanna did a great job in her role. I just felt like it was not needed, and it was only there to be a plot device for that, but also a plot device to be like, oh, we really want to force this romantic thing on the audience between Valerian and Laureline. Let's throw another female role in there so it gets the other side of the romantic side to him. So he gets that little female perspective from someone who's not Laureline.
You know what? I wouldn't necessarily get rid of that scene altogether. I would more so just what's the word? I would change it a bit, and because a lot of the time they're just too heavy on the
whole romantic thing was very heavily pushed throughout the entire movie.
They were just too heavy on it. I mean, if they would lighten up on it, that wouldn't. I feel like it wouldn't have been as much of an issue. Like having her, the romance thing is there a little bit, and that's fine. But then, if he goes and saves her, and that could advance the romantic thing in the story, and then it makes sense. But how heavy they were hitting on it all the time was just kind of ridiculous in some senses. And the thing with that is, I mean, that's another scene I would have changed where it was at in the story. I would have taken, he proposes way in the freaking beginning.
Yeah.
They'd make this movie to where the romance, if you're going to do that.
Let it build.
Let it build throughout the movie. And then maybe after he saves, at some point after he saves her, instead of because in the movie, she finds him after he's been injured or knocked, whatever happened to his ship, and in the red zone. And then shortly after that, he saves her. Sometime after that is where I would have put that proposal. Sometime after that. Before that,
where
no.
it's like, oh my God, we both died kind of a thing.
We both almost died. Reality check is here.
I felt like with the whole romantic thing.
Yeah.
That it was, like I said, way too forced on the audience.
It was a
because
little bit.
If I'm coming in, and the way I came into this was, like I said, I came in with as low base knowledge as possible. The graphic novel that Mark and I read, you could tell that there was kind of a romantic thing there, but it was, to me, going to build. It wasn't like a boom, we're already here. Yeah. And if I'm coming in not knowing these characters, if you go ahead, there's a way to have the proposal in the beginning and make it work, but they failed with that.
Yeah, no, it didn't work.
The way that I would have done it was let the romantic feelings build throughout the movie and then let it climax at a proposal type of situation. Do not let it get and I get what they are trying to do, the whole he proposes, but then the funny thing of he's got the entire playlist, and I thought that was forced also. At the very end, I want you to be my playlist. I'm like, what, am I watching an awesome sci-fi movie or a cheesy romantic comedy?
Exactly.
Pick a movie, and which one am I watching? Because at the time, I didn't know, am I watching a sci-fi thriller or am I watching a shitty romantic comedy? That's kind of what I thought throughout the entire movie was, which one am I watching, A or B?
Yeah, no, the problem is that they just didn't play the angle right on the romance between the two of them. We can't have romances. Han and Leia, perfect example. We didn't have it just shoved in your face. It built up throughout the movie.
And she didn't even want him at the beginning.
No, she didn't. They didn't want each other.
Because he's a nerf herder.
Exactly. Scruffy looking
nerf herder.
Scruffy looking nerf herder. So yeah, I mean, that we could have had something more like that. Not this. Even Padme and Anakin was
Hayden Christensen. That's what you were looking for.
I was gonna say Hayden Christensen. There was
Natalie Portman.
Theirs was better built up than
Hayden
that.
Christensen. Yeah, and I mean,
it was even that was a little slower.
And part of me wants to say, I don't want to throw him under the bus, but I feel like out of the two, whether it was Cara or Dane, Valerian or Laureline, I liked Laureline. I liked Cara Delevingne's acting a lot more than I liked Dane's.
See, the difference between you and me is I didn't have an idea of Valerian when we came into the movie.
See, but mine is so small to where I don't know if that is why.
Yeah, you had at least you had some idea from reading it. I had none, so that's why I don't have as much of a judgment with that. I liked hers better overall.
I'm just saying, the acting, she convinced me better than he did.
I did like their duo though. I did like their dynamic between the two of them.
And that's the thing.
Part of it. I'm not going to blame them for having a script written about such a forced romance.
I'm not saying I'm blaming the script and the romance on that. I'm saying that the reason why I'm not sold on their pair is I feel like Cara's Laureline was good to me. And I kept thinking, what if they casted someone else as Valyrian?
See,
what if they casted someone else? Because there was times where I would be like, okay, I get it. That is he'd be the. I felt like he was trying to overplay the nonchalant player. Do shit sometimes, the I don't care and I don't give a shit kind. I felt like there were, and maybe it could have been a script thing. It could have been that.
Yeah.
but I didn't get a sense of clear direction from the Valerian character that I got with Laureline. Laureline, for a T, I knew what she was from the beginning. Valerian was more, well, is he this? Is he that? Is he this? Is he that? Is he this over here? It was very shifting and very changing.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this then.
Okay.
Who would you have casted for him instead?
See, and I don't know. That's the thing. I do not know because I feel like the direction they went in was they went with younger looking actors.
Yeah.
So the ones that I'm thinking about are, of course, like older actors. And I don't think that it would, like, the one I think in my head is like, oh, Channing Tatum. He wouldn't have worked though.
No.
Just wouldn't have worked as Valerian. So it's not like a thing where in my head I have someone picked out and I'm like, I want to see him as Valerian. It was just I wonder what it could have been with somebody else as Valerian, if that makes sense.
Okay.
If it makes sense, like, to wonder what it would be with someone else but not know who that someone else is.
Okay. I got you on that. I got you.
And I felt like that whole, like, that played into the romance a little bit.
Yeah.
Because if you're not selling me on the pair, how are you going to sell me on a romance between that pair?
Okay.
And then when they're trying to force that romance down your throat, it didn't fit overall to me.
Yeah. I can see where you're coming from with some of that. I think just the overall problem was how much it was forced. The romance was forced. They should have made it more flowing through the movie, not this in your face, just like I can't think of another word for it. Just in your face romance. And
Bam! Here it is.
Hey, there's romance.
It's kind of like I know you're not going to get this reference, Johnny, because you're not a sports guy. It's kind of like watching old John Madden highlights.
Okay.
And it'd be like, well, and bam, boom, and that's what it was. Bam, in your face. Proposal. It's
yeah,
just bam, right on the screen.
There's a lot of that stuff they should have like moved. I think the script could have been
better
if they just moved stuff around.
I just
take a few things, move it around.
I want to say it was poorly written. I want to say it was I want to say that you look at the visual effects, you go, wow, this could be a good movie. Like if I watched it on mute, it might have been a better movie.
Maybe.
If I had, because, it's another thing I didn't fucking like about this movie. So we get the Space Odyssey thing, right?
Yeah.
Then I get what they want to do. I believe the planet was Mole, and we're probably screwing that up, but
it's Mole or Mule.
The alien planet that they were on, the one that got destroyed. The thing that bugged me was that with the Space Odyssey and then that, we got no dialogue for what seemed like, 10 to 15 minutes of the film?
Probably 15. Yeah,
we got 15. No dialogue. And even you said, could they have at least put, like, subtitles for their race down there? Like, I know that they had some eventually where it was like, give this back to the planet. And she gave it to the little...
yeah, but I mean...
But it was like, we didn't get much of anything at the beginning when they were like...
No.
Boy... And you could tell that,
like, it's a greeting, but you have to figure. Like, I don't like figuring that out for myself in a movie, like, especially if you're not gonna make it like
question.
Yeah,
question. Remember when she's doing this?
Yeah.
To the guys that are getting the pearls.
Yeah.
Remember how that third one, there was obviously that like, she thinks he's cute.
Yeah.
I can't remember in my head. Is there a chance that the guy they were interrogating was him?
There's a chance.
Because he was, like, the color of the skin was very white.
Yeah. I mean, there's a chance it was him.
But he wasn't in the ship. That's the thing.
We don't know that 100%.
True, we don't.
We don't know exactly how many of them made it. Not a ton of them did, but...
No, and I just thought that in my head.
Yeah.
Could that have been him?
Could have been him.
Could that have been him?
It's possible. And I mean, like I said, the first scene with that is not necessary. The second one I feel kind of was, because the commander eventually, like, that's one of the evidences to get him in trouble.
Like, even visual effects, this just popped into my head.
Yeah.
The whole market scene.
Yeah.
was phenomenal. How
It
they
was
were
great. I
able with
loved
the
it.
the presence of basically they have to put on these
It's a third
visors
dimension.
to see the market, which is in virtual reality.
Yeah, it's a separate dimension market, which is kind of cool. The whole concept was
but if
pretty
you
cool.
looked at it in the dimension we're in, they're just walking in a
Around
sand
desert.
field. Yeah, they're just walking in a desert.
I would love to see like a post credit, not post credit, but
an after credit scene.
not even after credit.
like
just,
a funny one of them, one of them just walking into something,
I mean, just that or just like
just walking into the wall.
the not special effects, but special features.
Okay.
Buy
Like
the
in the
DVD,
bonus features of the DVD.
features, and just like watch them walking around the desert randomly,
filming things.
That'd be hilarious to see. I would love to see that part. But no, yeah, that was a really cool effect. Like all of a sudden, you see nothing but desert, and all of a sudden this whole thing comes down.
Yeah.
Huge market. Welcome to Big Market. I'm like, well, that was genius.
Which my thought, and you have the IMDb in front of you. I
Yes.
think I'm wrong. The guy who played the market guy was not Russell Brand, was it?
I will look for that right now.
Because that's the thing I saw. There were some actors in this where obviously Ethan Hawke, I had to look him up after. I was like, I know that face. Ethan Hawke, John Goodman in this film.
Yeah.
Where we heard his voice and I was like,
Oh, I knew like that was John Goodman.
Is that John Goodman?
Oh yeah.
I wasn't expecting to see John Goodman in this movie.
I didn't even need to like look it up or guess. I knew it was John Goodman. That voice is so distinguishable. You know what? I can't find him. We'll have to. How about we put
if you guys
down below?
know down below, I felt it was a Russell Brand. Like that's the first thing that came into my mind was, is that Russell Brand? Is that who it is? But Johnny,
If you guys can find it before one of us does, put it in the comments below. If not, I'll see if I can beat you guys to it.
But Johnny, I want to ask you this. Is there anything about spoiler mode that you want to get into before we get into the Rick and Johnny Showstealer Award and our review for our final rating for the movie?
You know what? It's like I said, I'll just put all my stuff in bullet points.
Okay.
A lot of stuff can be moved around. They should have really kind of done a better job on writing and you know what? That's fine. Leave the love story in there. It makes some interest, like side interest. Do a better job making it more flowing and natural, not this forced billboard. Here's a love scene. No, do a better, more natural job. Like make it feel more natural.
Mine is pretty much the same.
And don't give your villain away after the two not post but pre-movie scenes.
Yeah.
Which I get the first one and I get the second one. Add some subtitles so I understand what the hell is going on. It was still really cool visually. I could have muted it and it would have looked great. But I didn't know what the hell was going on. 100%.
Yeah. No, I didn't either.
Not even close to it. Like 50% maybe.
And I'll do the same for bullet points. Cool effects, not convincingly enough of a starting duo with the two lead characters, shitty plot, and just not enough to keep you like... I told you, if you're a movie and I am sitting there and I have the thought in my head of, we've been here a while. I want to check my phone. I wonder how long we've been here. How long have I been sitting there? If I am going through my brain thinking of that and no longer thinking about your movie, you've lost. Mm-hmm. You've lost. Like Spider-Man, never thought, and that's the last one we saw. That's why I'm bringing it up. Never thought in my head, I wonder how long we've been sitting here. Because I was enticed in that story the entire way through. But Johnny, let's move on into our Showstealer and rating to end this podcast. I'm going to let you start this time because I think I took the first one with our Spider-Man review when I gave it to the great Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
Give me your show. Who stole the show for... I'm going to do this again. I want to set it up a little better.
Yeah, go ahead.
And Johnny, let's get into our ending of the podcast. If you're new and you're haven't got this far, well, what are you guys doing? Each movie we see, we give a Showstealer award to, which they're the ones that basically, good or bad, they stole the show and they're
the best one in that movie, the best actor or actress.
Basically, the MVP. MVP's given an MVP for the movie, and then we give our rating. Johnny, I'm going to let you go first. who's your MVP or your show stealer for Valerian?
My Showstealer, it's close because again, I didn't go in with even a smidgen of a idea of like who like what the character should be like. I'm still gonna give it to Sergeant Laureline, Cara Delevingne.
That's who I'm giving it to too.
Yeah, I mean to me, Dane DeHaan was close as Major Valerian. I liked it.
I didn't think it was close.
I didn't. I wouldn't blame. I blame more so the storyline than anything for that movie kind of being a flop.
No, I don't blame any of the actors. I just thought that the way she played her character was obviously the best of what she had to go up against.
It was better than his, It was better than his. And his is not like close like we've had in some of these cases, but it's the closest one second. I still kind of enjoyed his.
And I'm trying to think of anyone else other than them two that I would give it to. I would say an honorable mention, even though I would cut her entire scene, was Rihanna.
Yeah, no,
Rihanna played her character well.
Not just her, both parts of her character, like the whole scene with actually her,
the glob and her.
Yeah, both scenes were pretty good, like how she talked. So
no, I thought
honorable mention, but yeah,
I thought that Laureline was the best character.
Yeah, agreed.
In this entire film, and I kind of feel bad because yes, I thought it's one of those things where I thought she was the best and she deserved the Showstealer award. But on the other hand, I kind of think about it and I go, well, if the script was a little better and the characters were developed more, would I think the same way? Like, was the script bringing down a lot of people overall?
Yeah.
And then she just made it worked with what she had the best. But I loved her performance. She was my favorite character throughout the entire thing. And then kind of the most important part of this is the rating.
Yes.
I'm going to go first with this one. The reason why I did not like this movie, and really we're going to give it, usually we pick instead of stars, we pick something. Let's give it out of 5 planets. So they have 1,000 planets. We're going to take 5 of them.
We only need 5.
We're giving it a blank out of 5 planets. I'm giving it a 2 planets out of 5. And the reason being is everything I said before. Yes, the special effects were great. The one part I did like special effects wise is at the very end where they find the people and they kind of create that generator that with the new pearls creates their world in a ship so that they can live on their planet again, basically while they're floating through space. However, the plot sucked. The romance was thrown into my face. There were too many scenes that I felt like didn't need to be there. And overall, I felt the movie was a little bit too long for my liking. And not a too long like I thought it should have been shorter. Too long meaning it should have been more exciting.
Yeah.
If it was more exciting, which goes back to the plot, if the plot was better, then I wouldn't have felt as bad. So basically, the plot was so bad, but you're getting 2 planets out of 5 for me because of your special effects and because of how good. That was the saving grace that really boosted this movie from maybe a 0 out of 5 for me. So it gets a 2 out of 5. How about you?
I'm going to start with my reasonings why, and then I'll give you my score.
Okay.
So, again, special effects, phenomenal. So I'll stick with that. Your plot line, your storyline was bland. The love story could have been way more natural. It was just too billboardish and thrown in your face. And there were scenes I wouldn't necessarily cut because I love the David Bowie one. I completely get why you need to do that. The intro could have been spliced around a little differently, and there's other ones you could have had in there. One that we talked about could have been cut out completely. Other ones you should have spliced around and moved them somewhere else. So I'm going to give it 3 out of 5.
Very generous.
I'm very generous, but that's because, like I said, it's not a lot that I would say cut out. A bland storyline, it's just something I could see in a lot. You have a plain storyline that I could see in so many movies, but it's not like it's a terrible one. I've seen terrible storylines, and this is not terrible. It's bland. It's like eating chicken with nothing on it.
Let's put it this way. And the reason this is so, because some people might be saying, well, Ricky, is it better than The Mummy? Because if you guys know, The Mummy has been my lowest rated movie thus far at a whopping 1. We gave it daggers for that one. 1 dagger out of 5. Valerian's not bad to where I wanted my money back.
Yeah.
but it is bad enough to me saying where I regret wasting my money on the movie.
Yeah.
So it's not bad enough for me to say I want a refund. However, I want to save you guys the trouble and hope you guys don't waste your money on seeing something that you're probably like, I should have just waited for Netflix.
Yeah, again, if you do decide you do want to see it in theaters for some reason, just see it in 3D or don't see it in theaters.
And at that point, it's basically, do you want to support the studio that came out with the movie? That's basically the only reason why you would see it in theaters. Otherwise, I would say wait to Netflix. But Johnny, before I wrap everything up, any last thoughts that you want to say about Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets?
No, I mean, we said everything we needed to say. Either don't see it at all, see it in 3D, or probably just save your money. As Ricky said, wait for Netflix. But if you really want to support that, whoever,
the third-party indie
studio, or if you, for some reason, still say, hey, I really wanted to see this anyways, buck up the money, do the 3D, or don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, the special effects are really the only thing that this movie had. But I want to thank you guys for either listening and watching. The next movie that we are going to see might be next week. However, it might be me and Dave because Johnny's got his family reunion next week. Dave and I might go see Atomic Blonde. We're not 100% sure. However, if there's any movies in the future that you would like us to watch and review, leave them down in the comment section. Also, if you have seen Valerian, let us know what you thought of our review. Also, let us know what you thought of it so we can continue the conversation down below in the comment section. I want to thank you guys again for either watching or listening. But as always, have a good day, everybody.